Ireland here. Eorzea, we need to talk. I'm a long-time career tank. In pretty much any MMO I play, I tank. I won't claim that makes me good at it, but I have gotten a chance to see how most game communities treat their tanks. Those of you who are watching who are tanks, you can skip this part of the video. I'll talk to you guys later at the end. This is for everyone else. The mages, the healers, and the elite. You know who we are. So, I have a question for you. Do you guys not want tanks in your game? I'm being honest here. Because you treat your tanks like shit. I'm not talking about normal, blame it on the tank, you wipe, blame it on the tank, blame it on the mage, whatever. You see that in any MMO, that's normal. I mean, as a tank, I am treated like I am an affront to the game. I join a duty fighter party, the run will go fast, it'll go smooth, we get to the end, we kill the boss, no deaths, not even got close, things seem to go well, and then, as the black mage zones out, he says, another shit tank, and leaves. It's not even a matter of getting commendations, because I don't get commendations anymore. I'm lucky if I don't get screamed at during the run. People just call me a shit tank. Now, I know what you're saying. It's saying, Herland, maybe it's because you are a shit tank. And, that's the obvious answer. And honestly, I have considered that. I don't think I'm the best tank there is. And I'm not shit. I've asked people, strangers, not friends, but, I've had groups, and I found groups that will actually give me feedback on my tanking. They say I'm great. They say I'm good. I'm not perfect. Obviously, there's stuff that I can improve on, but I'm not a shit tank. I hold hate. I keep my gear up to spec. I try and tailor my pulls to the party ability. I try and do everything I can to be a good tank. I try. But I still get all this hate. No matter how I do, I still get a huge amount of hate. So I gotta assume it's some sort of general, pervasive, low-level hatred of tanks. I'm not the only one who experiences this. I have a bunch of friends who tanks. My free company, The Forge, is kind of tank-heavy, so we got a lot of tanks here. And this is the one thing I keep on seeing coming back from them all the time, is that people are treating tanks like shit. You go into a duty finder party, and you will get mages pulling over the tank. You get healers pulling over the tank. You get people who yell at tank for not doing things in a specific way without actually telling them what that specific way was ahead of time. You don't get any specific feedback on it. It's just they just toss out at the end that you're a baddie, or they say do your fucking job or whatever. And sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense. I go into a group that has, I'm marking my targets because I got a monk and a ninja in the party, and I'm getting yelled at. Why are you marking your targets, idiot? I do pulls. The white mage, I can barely keep my health above 30%. Spamming benediction. I'm getting told to make bigger pulls. And then, I pull and I wipe, and I get kicked for being shit. Have you guys had a bad tank in a primal fight? And I mean legitimately bad tank. Have you had a tank in a quill group who just like Leroy Jenkins his way through and get you guys wiped on trash pulls? Or the guys who can't get the mechanics down, or just in general doesn't listen, doesn't know what to do, just kind of bowls ahead and gets everyone killed. Do you ever wonder where that comes from? It's you. It's going through dungeons where tanks are being punished for practicing the stuff that we need to learn how to do well in other aspects of the game. Being punished for marking targets, being punished for doing a ready check at boss fights, being punished for trying to manage the pulls or tailor it to the party specifications, being punished for trying to learn how to manage hate better. And, you might say, well, I don't have time for the tank to be doing that in my dungeon party fighter. Don't tell me you perfected your damage rotation the first time you stepped into coil, or that you had your cleric stance stepping perfected the instance. You did your first, extreme primal fight. You guys practice this stuff in dungeons. You figure out how to do this in dungeons because it's a safe place to do it, because if you screw it up, it's not the end of the world. You can recover from it. You can't practice this stuff in in endgame raids. Well, a little bit more now, because, you know, everyone's overgeared for practically everything out there. But when they first came out, you can't practice that stuff in a raid that just came out. You're expected to know this stuff. But you can't practice it in dungeons, because people don't want to wait the 2 minutes, you know, extra it might cost them. So, you know what? You guys want bigger pulls? Ask for them. Nicely. Don't bitch out the tank at the end of the run because he didn't pull to your specifications, even though you didn't say anything. And you know what? If you want bigger pulls and the tank isn't comfortable with it, deal with it. You guys are in a dungeon for, what, 15 minutes? On the outside, with small pulls. That's less time than you were in the Duty Finder for. And you ever wonder why your Duty Finder timers are so long? It isn't because there's a shortage of goddamn Black Mages, okay? You guys keep making tank classes unfun to play because you're being toxic dickbags, and then those queues are only going to get longer. Adding Dark Knight in there isn't going to fix it because it's going to be the same people who want to play tanks who are going to be leveling that class. It's just going to come from us. You're going to see fewer Paladins, fewer Warriors, more Dark Knights. You're going to get a few people who jump over, but generally if someone is inclined to play a tank class, they're already playing a tank class. You're not going to get any more tanks out of that. So, you know what? You're allowed to get mad if your tank doesn't do his job. If he can't hold hate in a group, if he doesn't use defensive buffs, if he's undergeared, or he doesn't listen when you try and tell him the mechanics of the fight, you're not allowed to get mad at him for marking targets. You're not allowed to get mad at him for doing ready checks on boss fights. You're not allowed to get mad at him for failing to do things exactly the way you want to do it without you having to tell him exactly the way you want to do it. You don't get to be mad at them for existing. You don't get to resent them for the requirement of having them there. And you don't get to make them feel like you don't need them there. You don't get to make them feel like a second-class citizen. Not unless you want that Duty Finder timer to start creeping up even longer. You want an hour-long Duty Finder timers? That's how you get it. Alright, tanks, you can come back now. Okay, guys, I know it's rough out there. I know there isn't a lot of tolerance for us, especially if you make a mistake or you don't know the fight. Or, heaven forbid, pull less than 10 mobs. Don't put up with it. I know that 30-minute lockout sucks, but you just can't let abusive parties walk all over you anymore. Drop your group. Submit a report to SC if you get kicked for doing your job. Submit a report. Don't take the abuse. Just hunkering down and enduring it to get through the dungeon isn't going to make it go away. It's just going to get worse. And you end up with a whole generation of tanks who don't know what they're doing because no one ever allowed them to learn. And for those of you who do treat your tanks well, and I know there's a lot of you out there, well, you're probably already doing dungeons in a static with your tank anyway. Thank you. And if you're in a party that's treating the tank like shit, stick up for him or her, okay? Don't let someone else roll over your tank, because chances are your tank is basically just going to take it to get through it all, because we're so used to it. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later.